Today I'm going to tell you why good length just outside off is so powerful and why every single coach, commentator and bowler tells you to keep trying to aim for the spot over and over again. And understanding what makes it so dangerous and why it works will help you not just as a bowler so you can hit good length more often and get more wickets, but also as a batsman so you can figure out how to counter this length when you actually go up against a good bowler. To understand what makes good length so good, we're going to look at it from the perspective of a batsman first. And the first thing that comes to mind is what I like to call the uncertainty principle. Now, when you look at good length, it's right in between a short ball and a full ball, and here's why that's important. Let's say I get a full ball. I know exactly what I have to do. I have to go forward and drive it. But if I get a short ball, I know that I can't go forward. I have to go back and defend it or play an aggressive stroke. And then it's pretty easy to tell that if it's slightly fuller, I need to go forward. And then as it keeps going back, I can still go forward to a ball about this full. And same for a short ball. So if the ball's that far, I know it's a bouncer, and even as it's coming closer, I know I can still play back to this. But somewhere in the middle, between these, a point will come where my mind is not so sure when I go stand over here and look at it. When you see a ball bouncing on good length, as a batsman, you don't exactly know whether to go forward or back. You can make a choice, but that split-second hesitation makes a difference. In a similar way, when it comes to the line of the ball, it's very clear to me that when the ball is somewhere over here, the ball can hit the stumps. So I know I have to play at it. And I know when the ball is that far away, I can just leave it, especially at the start of the innings when I'm unsure about the bounce of the pitch and all. But similar to the length, when the ball is somewhere in the middle, as this gets closer and closer, suddenly that choice isn't as clear anymore. So what happens then is that the batsman is unsure about whether they need to play at this ball, because you imagine a bowler's coming from there. The ball might be swinging, it might be seaming, and it lands over there. It might hit the stumps, so I have to play at it. But that split-second hesitation makes a very big difference. And this is why good length outside off creates a lot of indecision in the batsman's mind. And then he's unsure about whether to go forward, whether to go back, should I play at it or leave at it? And this is the first part of why good length is so good. Now, the second reason why good length is so good is because statistically, it's your best chance of getting the batsman out. And here's why. Good length, just outside off, keeps every single mode of dismissal on the table. On most pitches, good length is a length that is going to end up hitting just about the top of the stumps. This means you can get bowled. And since the line is somewhere between off stump and maybe just outside it, it's possible that if the ball seams in, it'll hit the stumps. So you're covered on both line and length. And whenever bowled is an option, so is LBW, in case the batsman tries to leave it and it hits their pads, or if they just miss it. After that, because it's just outside off, there's a high probability that the batsman might edge it, especially at the start of their innings. And then of course, if you got someone like me who's just trying to hit every ball, good length is not in the slot. So it's not as easy to hit. And it's not short either. So especially if the pitch is slightly uneven, I might not be able to see how high the bounce is and I might miscue it. So you can see that good length has bowled, LBW, edged and caught. These are the four most common modes of dismissal. I guess you could get stumped and run out too, but the point is, compared to other deliveries like a ball outside off stump or a bouncer, this has more methods of getting the batsman out. So statistically, it's your best option. Third, good length is actually perfect because it allows the most movement through the air and off the pitch. And here's what I mean by that. So let's say you want to bowl an in-swinger. You hold it like this, and as you can see, the ball will come and start swinging. Now, swings happens later on in the flight path. So there's a lot of science behind why it swings, but the longer it's in the air, the more the ball has a chance to swing. So by here, it'll finally start swinging in. So on good length, it's swinging a good amount. And then the fuller you bowl, the more it'll swing. So then you might ask, why not just bowl very full? Because then you'll get more swing. That's correct. But there's one other type of movement that you need to consider, and that's movement of the pitch. And here's what I mean by that. Let's say you bowl an off spinner, or let's say there's some seam in the pitch. After bouncing, the ball starts moving one way or another. So the further away from the batsman the ball bounces, the more it'll seam. Let's say the ball bounces here and starts going in that direction, right? And this way it will go very far. Now, if the same ball was to actually bounce full, say somewhere around here, very close to the batsman, it'll still go in the same direction. But as a batsman, now I can actually reach the ball's bounce and get it before it moves. So a ball that bounces here is no good. So then you might say, why not just bowl short? Here's why you don't want to bowl short. If the ball bounces like this far away, and let's say it starts moving one way, I actually have a lot of time now after the bounce to see which way the ball is moving. Whereas if it's full, I don't have time to see that. So why good length is so good is because it's just full enough to let the ball swing, but just short enough that the ball can also move, but not so short that the batsman can see which way the ball is going to move. So if this ball was to bounce right here, it'll have plenty of time to actually swing. It'll have enough time to actually move off the surface so that I can maybe get the edge of my bat. And at the same time, I won't be able to react to it fast enough unless I'm superhuman like Virat Kohli, let's say. Now, fourth and lastly, I've been telling you all the ways that good length is so good at taking wickets, but I forgot to tell you that it's actually also a good defensive option. And here's what I mean by that. When a batsman is looking to hit for 6, there's two types of deliveries that are very easy to hit, or at least they feel very comfortable hitting. And the first is a ball that's in the slot, because all you have to do is get forward and swing blindly. Most of the times, especially after they're set, they're not going to miss this ball. And the ball's not going to do anything off the pitch, and once it's old, it's not going to swing in the air. And on the other hand, if you bowl a short ball, then the second a batsman is set, short balls are probably the worst deliveries you could bowl to them. And even if it's a very good bouncer, if their eye is good enough, they'll definitely be very comfortable pulling or hooking it. Now this is where good length comes in. Good length is not short enough to where they can comfortably go back. So this means that they're not going to be able to use your own pace against you. And on the other hand, if they do go forward, it's just short enough to where when they do a full swing with a straight bat, it's going to hit them pretty high on the bat. So they'll struggle to get power, and unless the boundary is the 30-yard circle, they're going to have to hit a very good shot to actually clear it. And on top of that, most batsmen, especially ones who've been coached, have been taught to respect good length deliveries. So if you do bowl some of these, they'll be less aggressive than if you bowl a bad ball at them. And that's what makes good length so versatile. Not only can it take wickets, it can also stop the batsman from scoring runs. So now that you know how good length works and why it's so dangerous, as a bowler, here's what you can do to find it more consistently. One of the things I said earlier was that good length is when all modes of dismissal are in play. So the length you're looking for on any given pitch is one that will hit just about the top of the stumps where the batsman is slightly unsure. And then the line is just outside off. If you're an in-swing bowler, you probably want to keep it slightly further away. And if you're an out-swing bowler, you probably want to aim for leg stump. Now, in situations where you're actually trying to stop the batsman from scoring, good length actually changes a little bit because you're not necessarily trying to get them out. You want to get them out through a mistake of their own. And in that case, you're actually looking for a length where the batsman himself is unsure of whether to go forward or back. And this also applies when the batsman is either very tall or very short, because let's say the batsman is very short. This length to a very short batsman is actually going to end up being short, and they'll know to go on the back foot. So if there's a very short batsman, you probably want to go slightly fuller. And on the other hand, if it's a very tall batsman, you probably want to go slightly shorter so that they still have to think about it. And same applies for you as a bowler. I'm a pretty tall guy. I can end up bowling a little bit fuller. I can make an error slightly on the fuller side. And because I'm tall, the extra bounce I get makes it difficult to play that. But I can't bowl shorter. And vice versa if you're a short bowler. So make sure that you keep that in mind. And with this, you'll be able to find good length on any pitch and against any batsman. Good length is going to get you a lot of wickets. So how do you counter good length as a batsman? There are 3 things that you need to look out for. The first thing you need to understand is a good bowler will find good length and try and bowl there as much as possible. So in my experience, the best way to deal with good length is to try and disrupt them. And here's a couple ways you can do that. The first thing is very simple. Just stand out of the crease. Especially if you're an opener, this is a very helpful thing to do because this will reduce the amount of swing. Because like I said, the ball will have less time to swing even if they do bowl full, and less time to move off the pitch. On top of this, most bowlers will not be able to adjust to this instantly because they'll see that you're outside, but then they might mess up their control trying to bowl slightly shorter, or they might not change anything at all, in which case this is now a full ball that's much easier to deal with. The second way that you can deal with it, especially later on in the death overs, is because this ball is just outside off, it's very difficult to try and power it through the leg side. You have to play a shot that is technically not the best one to play. But you can change that very easily, because if the same ball was actually on your body, in that case, it's a very good ball to try and do a swivel pull or something like that. And the easiest way to do that is to just do a shuffle across. Now this is a little bit dangerous because if the ball is actually fuller and on your stumps, you need to make sure that you can actually play your on drive and those shots. And you need to make sure that you stay balanced on point of contact. But this is a very good way to upset the bowler's line and length, because a bowler will see you shuffle across. They might suddenly bowl a bad ball. And if they end up bowling the same ball, this is actually a very easy ball to try and hit on the leg side for 6. So the best way to deal with good length is try and disrupt the bowler and get them off it. Now if you are playing a format where you don't necessarily have to score that fast, the best way to counter good length is to just make sure your leaving technique is good. I do have a video on how to defend and how to leave properly, so go watch that if you want. But as a general rule, the point is, as long as you take the same guard every single ball and you've batted a good amount, you'll be able to tell when a ball is going to hit your stumps and not. And the best solution in that case is to just leave the ball or play at it if you absolutely have to. I hope watching this video helped you truly understand how important good length is and what actually makes it so good, why people keep talking about it, right? Because you keep seeing it on TV, you're always told to bowl it, and understanding why might actually help you bowl it better and help you deal with it as a batsman. So if you like this kind of content, please subscribe, because I love making it for you.